And welcome back to the relationship cycle with Jorge and Nelsa. And today we're talking about dating exclusively. So, Poppy, where do you stand on this one?
Oh man, this is a good one because I feel that once upon a time, everybody, society, and young and old had a pretty good idea of what that meant. Now I feel like that's kind of been put and flipped upside down, and now it's become an abstract, uh, preferential taste depending on the individual and the circumstances. But
Hmm.
I think that it is something that needs to be discussed by the parties involved, and it's important to lay out what the expectations, what the needs, and what the desires are, if that is truly what someone is seeking.
Well, and it's funny that this was a topic for us because I am currently dating exclusively, but I didn't come to that place. I feel like I'm kind of full circle, a little. That's my traditional self and the way I grew up seeing roles played out for um you know men and women in traditional relationships, right? And then life happened. I got divorced and started dating more casually because I felt like I had never just dated casually and just got to know different people to see like who really lined up best with me, as opposed to like this person's interested in that type of lifestyle, dating exclusively. So, okay, fine, we'll just do that. You know what I mean? That's kind of what my mindset had always been. And so coming back to exclusivity with someone has been a little refreshing because I feel like this person and I have been on a similar path, like, very much, monogamy, and then a dating life that included, seeing multiple people and at the same time, knowingly, like not just like it's just not just gonna be the two of us having that conversation in the very beginning, which I always kind of find funny now because I was very adamant, like you're not the only person I plan to see, and before long, I just like so much about him. And there were so many things that lined up that were compatible for the two of us that I kind of wound up being exclusive without realizing it. And then we've had a conversation about, do you want to just see each other? And having that, like you said, having those boundaries, having the clarity, having that discussion around like, what does that look like? How are we going to play this out now that we decided, just the two of us are in this thing to win it or whatever. So I feel very full circle, but I think you almost need a season of non-exclusivity before you settle in, because sometimes as a young person we just jump right into the first thing that comes to us, and that's not always the best thing for us.
No, I agree. And I think sometimes some people go exclusive too soon because I've seen that as well, where they met for a week or two and now they're exclusive. And I'm like, man, you guys are moving fast because think about it. Like the old saying goes, you don't know somebody till you live with them. So
Right.
if you are already
Right.
going exclusive with somebody and you just met him 2 weeks ago, you haven't even been to his house, you don't know what his family
Hmm.
dynamics are, or maybe he doesn't live around you or, out of the city. And then with that whole exclusivity stuff, that can get messy. And me personally, whenever I go on a date with a woman, I always like to make it clear as the conversations evolve and as the moment feels appropriate. I do like to let it be known that, hey, just because we went on a date or just because we've hung out a couple times, that does not mean that I am exclusive with you. Just like I assume that you're not exclusive with me. Like I know you're not
Hmm.
just chatting with me on a dating app, because we still don't know whether we're meant for each other or whether we're a good fit or whether we're looking for the
Right.
same thing. So to me, I also think that it can be dangerous to rushing into being exclusively without really having those deep conversations and establishing those highlights of what we want, what we need, and what are we looking for? What are you looking to get out of relationships and dating, right? Because not everybody's looking for love necessarily.
Exactly. And that's what some of our,
I'm just
I
being
really
real.
like, yeah, like exclusive about what exactly? And that's one of the first comments on our Facebook
That's
post.
true. Yeah,
I
like,
was
because
like,
listen, yeah,
wow, who would have thought of all these things 10, 15 years ago? But now you got to take all this stuff into consideration, right?
I mean, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, right? Like the whole exclusivity concept has been flipped upside down. Now, to be fair,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Um, at the end of the day, um, what is exclusive to you two may not look the same to other couples or other individuals who are doing, exclusive, right?
Yeah,
Um,
because they might have three in their exclusive circle.
absolutely,
Let's face
yeah.
it, right? Poly has its own set of conditions and circumstances. Like, are we exclusive as a group? Are we exclusive just the two of us, but not you with that one? Or, there's just this whole, who knew that there were so many configurations to, relationships as we've seen in the last few years with the show. But what I really like, Catherine Madeline M said, she started out, I can't even really say. And the question was, tell us what you think about what does dating exclusively look like? And she says, so many will say only dating and being intimate. Many different levels to intimacy, but many will say doing those with only one person, your partner. Crazy thing is, most people cheat. That's fact. So I would prefer a relationship that's open and honest first and foremost. But the decision to be exclusive, I would prefer, she says she would prefer that to be a decision the man decides. She says, I'm more old school, but with much needed conversation, like you said, throughout the dating phase about what exclusive means to each of us. Are we monogamous? Are we open but transparent? Do we want to even become official and exclusive? Et cetera, et cetera. All depends on the person or people involved. So, again, like there's so many different levels. Does emotional exclusivity count? Like, are we only sharing our innermost feelings, thoughts, and desires with each other? Or if you do that with someone else, is that cheating emotionally? Um, for the other person. Like, and I think there's so many times that we will allow things to be in the gray area and we will not solidly define things because we're afraid if I say that this is what I want clearly, then I might lose the other person. And I'm in this stage of life now, Poppy. If I lose you by telling you my truth, you were never mine to begin with. And I think as a woman, especially now with there being so many factors and, like there are men who are bisexual, just like women who are bisexual. Like the competition for an exclusive partner is different now. Like we really are not just, I'm not just competing with other women in the game or, in the dating pool, which I'm not in anymore, thankfully, but you're also competing with men sometimes if the parties involved have open sexual boundaries or whatever. So I just think really truly again it boils down to being honest with yourself, number one. Like what is it that you really want from this person? And then two, like if you want exclusivity, why? I think really until you can answer why you want to be exclusive with the person, like that's a question that you need to spend some time exploring for yourself and with them because your reasons for exclusivity may not make sense
No, I
once
agree.
you.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you're walking out of a relationship or you're still healing or recovering from a previous relationship,
Mhm.
like those things, before you start going exclusive with someone, you want to make sure that those things are stable and are in good standing, right? Because you
Absolutely.
don't want to just rush into a situation and then you post up and flex on Instagram or Facebook, and then a week later is done.
Yeah.
That is not my cup of tea. I'd rather take my time and I'd rather spend quality time. I'd rather get to know each other because once I make that step of going exclusive, that to me is a meaningful thing in my particular
Right.
approach. for my particular approach, I like to do the dating stage, right? Where we're
Yeah.
spending time and getting to know each other. And if that's going well, and
Hmm.
if our goals and our desires and our needs align well,
Hmm.
then to me, right, if I'm genuinely pursuing a relationship with this woman, then my next step would be to consider going exclusive to see what that looks like, right?
Right. Right.
And then, right, in my mind, this is how I approach it. I'm not saying everybody else has
In
to
the
do that.
mind of Poppy, everybody, we're
Absolutely. It
behind the
is
curtain.
it is very important to lay that out there,
Oh,
right? Because there's more than one way to skin a cat when it comes to these kind of, situations. And then after the exclusive phase, if that goes well, then okay, then we can have a realistic conversation about a relationship, right? So to me, it's
right.
three phases in my opinion. But I have seen particularly more with the traditional women or women that have been married for a long time or have been in long term relationships. They seem to hitch their wagons on a man very, very quickly. And some of that I get it, right? That's kind of how they've been programmed. But at the same time, that's also risky because you're betting on a horse that you don't know what that horse is about. You don't know if he
Right.
feels the same way. You don't know if he's giving you that same energy and respect that you are offering him. So it's important to really lay everything out because, like we've discussed, right? Once you start to really invest emotionally in people, it it can go south really really quick if you are
Hmm.
not on the same wavelength as far as what you want and what you see as exclusive dating.
Okay, so I have to ask you, have you ever fallen haphazardly into exclusivity?
Say that again.
Have you ever fallen haphazardly? Like, it wasn't really planned out. You didn't necessarily intend it, but you just sort of were like, well, we might as well.
I
You
have
know?
not. I have not. I Because remember, I like to kind of bring this up very early on, so this is
Hmm.
something that I get ahead of pretty early. Sometimes I've even said it on first dates. Like I
Hmm.
will put that out there that hey, unless we have had a conversation of exclusivity, I am going to assume that there's other chefs in the kitchen for both sides,
Okay.
me
Okay.
and you. So that way, when down the road, 3, 4 dates down the road, they're like, I'm only seeing you or I'm not pursuing anybody else, then I revert back to my original conversation, right? That, hey, I've never pledged exclusivity to you. So why are you
Hmm.
pledging exclusivity to me?
Okay. Okay. Well, and I guess, sometimes I've seen this with my female friends more than anybody. Like, I don't know too many guys who they might go along with the bit, but they're really not exclusive. Some of my male friends, but some of my female friends, I think, have been like, well, I'm not doing anything right
You
now.
know,
And
men
he
don't
does
operate
take
like
me
that. Men don't
out.
move like that. Men don't
I
assume we're
know.
exclusive. We're like, hey, I'm single, you're single, and unless we've, made a commitment and we've had a conversation, we're gonna do
Right.
what we've been doing.
Listen, some of my female friends, I have seen this where she's like, well, I'm not doing anything right now. And he does take me out, and it's all right. It's just I got nothing else going on. And we just kind of like go along with the program just
Yeah,
because,
we
like,
just
I have
go
anything
along.
else
We
to
just
do.
yeah. That's how you slide into a situationship.
I know, right? Look, and can you be exclusive in a situationship? Like, do you really consider that? Um, in the factors of, yeah, I might as well right now. This is what I'm doing. I'm not seeing anybody else just because I'm not seeing anybody else. So it's just us. There's just like, man, you didn't have all this to think about. Again, like I say, many years ago, and now it's sort of like you got to cover every single base and not assume just because you think that's what's happening doesn't mean that the other person in the relationship, situationship, whatever it is, feels the same way. Even sometimes in the marriage, like you've assumed a lot just because of the way you feel about that person, but they may not be on that same page with you, and so. Like, I just wonder how many people, I would love to hear from the audience on that one. If you could go back to our post at Jorge Medina or Nelsa Weber on Facebook, I would love to know how many people have just kind of gotten into the flow of being exclusive without really planning to. And, how many of you have had real conversations about that? Because it does kind of, it makes me feel like you got to be so much more on top of things nowadays. Like, it's just too much competition with online dating. You can be dating someone from across the country, from across the world, and not even know that your person is seeing somebody else from across the world or next door or whatever too, and
Next door.
people
Oh man.
lie, people do lie. Like, somebody will tell you it's just the two of us, but what they mean is just the two of us right here, right now. Like,
It's
not
just the
it's
two
just the
of us
two
in
of
this
us
neighborhood,
forever.
in this zip code.
Right. It's just the two of us is a song. But it's a
Oh,
song
shout
lyric.
out to Will Smith. Just the
But
two of us.
oh, listen, honey, that was before Will Smith,
That's before Will. That's before Will Smith
yeah.
lost his mind.
It, listen, but I just like so many people are just kind of like winging it. And then how many people are exclusive for money? Because that was another thing, from the research department that, a lot of people make the decision to get married, to, get to move in, um, to do whatever based on they want a financial partner. Some people stay married and the partner is not being faithful on their end of things because of financial security. So, like, how many people have made that decision? Like, we didn't, back in the day they had arranged marriages that were like financial,
Financially driven. Yeah.
contracts. Yeah, contracts. So how many people currently are choosing to stay together exclusively because of finances? Like, I can't afford to get a divorce. I can't afford to move out on my own. So you really just got a roommate, but you're staying together because, you don't want to upset the apple cart and mess up money.
I mean, listen. To me, whenever I hear someone get into a relationship and they get into it for looks or for money, or like I remember I posted something a couple years ago. It said there's really people out here just dating wallets and bodies, basically.
Hmm.
So the what I took out of that is that there's people that are just dating for the superficial looks and for the clout and the money. And listen, if that's what you do, that's what you do. But when it doesn't work out, or you don't feel like your emotional needs are being fulfilled and met, well, the proof is in the pudding. If you're marrying somebody, or you're, putting all your eggs on that basket because of that sole reason, then to me, you reap what you sow.
All right.
Like when you when you don't feel like you're being fulfilled emotionally and spiritually and all that good stuff, well, when
Mm-hmm.
you only focus on the superficial stuff, you're exposing yourself to run into those situations, because at that point it's no longer genuine love, it's interest on a specific agenda that you're craving, which, as long as everybody's honest with it, all good. But
Right.
oftentimes people have hidden agendas, or they have a tough time being upfront about, hey, I'm not really into you like that, but if you get down with sugar babies or vice versa, then yeah, we could talk, and listen, I'm not, I don't get down with that, but I do respect the honesty about it, right? Because at
Yeah.
least at that
Right.
point I can respect the woman for saying, hey, look, I'm only seeking this, not real love or not genuine relationship. Okay, cool. Then that
Yeah.
way I know what I'm walking into. And whether I choose to do that or not, then that's on me. And whatever happens with that, then hey, that's also on me, because I knew what I was walking into.
Exactly. Like, like our friend Catherine said, first and foremost, there's honesty about what we're doing. Because there's nothing worse than pulling the wool over someone's eyes, and then they're just devastated and messed up for the next person who tries to come along to date. But I see some statistics here from Forbes.com, um, from um, a poll that they did um, in August 2023. They polled 5,000 U.S. respondents who have actively dated in the last 5 years and looked into how people date, how they prefer to date, online and app-based dating, and more. But this is the statistic that I really wanted to pull out. There's three of them here. Nearly 70% of individuals who met someone on a dating app said it led to a romantic, exclusive relationship, while 28% said it did not. That was a little surprising to me, considering how much I felt like it was just a hookup engine for some of the ones that I had been on. But for 70% of the 5,000 who were polled, they said it really did lead to something serious. So that's pretty high percentage, even for that smaller bucket of people. Individuals between ages 43 and 58 found the most success with online dating, with 72% stating that meeting on a dating app led to a romantic relationship. And then this one was really surprising. Males were more likely to have met someone on a dating app and have it lead to an exclusive relationship, 75%, compared to 66% of females.
Wow,
So,
interesting.
yeah, I thought, wow. And, I would think the opposite was true, that most people weren't taking the dating app very seriously, but as a kind of meat market meetup, as opposed to like meeting via like friends, or more organic like meeting. So it says in this statistic here, the top place to find dates according to 45% respondents was online dating apps, followed by being connected by a friend, 33%, and concerts or festivals at 32%. So online dating really has become a very real avenue for people to find the person that they want to be exclusive with. So I really was very shocked at those statistics, and that's pretty recent. That's like last year.
Wow, that's pretty eye-opening stuff, and I would agree that, to me, at least personally, and people in my circle, the majority of people, when they date, they tend to connect via the online dating apps, social
Mhm.
media. I would put that up there with the dating apps. Hell, even Facebook has a dating portion. And for those that
That's
are
right.
interested, I'm in there. I mean, that's where
It's
me and
big.
you
It's
met.
big. That's where we met.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So,
exactly.
so I would definitely lump social media into the dating app stuff. But yeah, we talked, right? Like, to me, the whole concept of meeting organically, it's just getting harder and harder. And now with people,
Yeah.
particularly of the younger generation, not really feeling comfortable with the inhuman in-person interaction, that just makes it even more challenging.
Well, and according to U.S. Census Bureau, nearly 47%, that's almost half of our population in the U.S., are currently single. Just over 117 million people. That's a lot of single people out here. So, when you try to look at that big a population, I mean, it's less than half, but it's almost half. Like, we're batting a 50-50 almost, to being alone or being with someone committed. Um, and then it says 2023 data from Pew Research Center finds that 3 in 10 Americans are single, and about half are open to either a committed relationship or casual dates. Over half of men, 56%, are looking for either a committed relationship or casual dates, and less than half of women say the same thing.
Wow, that's
So,
a big
like, what are
shift.
people, right? What are people doing out here then? If we're not exclusive,
People are
are we
living
just
their
like
best
out here
life,
on our
Nelsa. That's what's
own?
happening.
Yeah. Are we, because, it really doesn't speak to like if people are in, uh, you know, polyamorous relationships, or, you know, like what are people doing, um,
And
out
I
here in
let
these
me ask you
streets?
something. I want to ask you something. So,
Hmm.
obviously, you've had that conversation with your partner. So, what, in your mind, right, when you say, I want you to be exclusive with me, what does that look like to you from a woman's perspective? Like, what do you expect from your partner when you decide that, hey, we're going to go exclusive? So, what does this look like to you? Paint the picture for me.
Okay. And when I say that, I mean that we are, number one, taking the next step to get to know each other deep. Like, really being raw and honest, be able to communicate with one another. And we are doing it just the two of us. Like, we are no longer looking at other potential mates as potential partners. Like, we've closed the field now. Thank you all for auditioning, but we have our lead.
So the casting couch is out.
The cast, all right, the casting couch is out. The casting director has put the sign up. The cast list is posted. All right.
No more America's
Um,
Got Talent. I feel you.
no, 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 no. We're not auditioning anymore. Thank you for your time. We're also looking at monogamy sexually.
Right.
Um, for me, emotionally, like, I don't want to have to take my um emotional, mental things to some other man or woman. That's, when I say a woman, like, I'm not, I'm into men. I identify as hetero. But I don't even necessarily want my best friend, who is a female, to have to carry the onus of my emotional stuff. Like, I'm trying to do that for myself, and got a great therapist, by the way. But I'm just like, I want you to be solid enough in all areas, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, that if we're considering now, I feel like we're considering a real partnership just with each other moving forward. And I want you to be able to, you know, be able to show up for me the way I think you should expect me to show up for you.
Let me
And
ask you
then
something. Okay, go ahead.
yeah.
No,
Well, and
finish
I was
up.
just gonna say, well, just finally, like, exclusive means like we have to spend time together, continuing to build this thing we call a relationship. And what does that look like? Like, I really need real answers, not just dodgy stuff, because you're still trying to decide if I'm worth, putting your bet on. So now I'm like, if we're gonna be together, like, in real circumstances, then I need you to be open with me about things going on in your life. I want you to.
No, and I think it's important too, right? To if things right are maybe not sitting well, or you see something that the person's doing, like, this is the time to speak on it.
Yes.
Like, this is the time to address these concerns, these issues. And also, right, one of my so I believe it or not, I've also have gone exclusive a couple of times, throughout my bachelor experience, post separation and divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And what I the way I laid out, what that looked like to me. Number one, um, to me, I let it be known that, hey, this is important to me, because I am not going to be pursuing any more women. Right. That
Right.
was that was I made that clear. Um, Number two, I see this as a way to see if we are compatible, and to see if we are a good fit to take that next step to something more
Mm-hmm.
serious, which in this
Mm-hmm.
scenario, the goal would be, are we a good fit to engulf in a relationship together?
Right.
And I also let it be known, right, that I'm going to be pausing, or deleting my dating profiles.
Yes. Yes.
Because if
Absolutely.
I'm
Yes.
going exclusive with you, but I'm still out in these streets and these profiles, then I'm leaving all that temptation. Just
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving that door cracked for all kind of temptations to get in there, and even in social media, obviously, conducting myself in a respectful manner, right, and again, not pursuing other women romantically. That's how
Absolutely.
I went about it with that conversation with a couple of women that I have gone exclusive with, post divorce phase.
And I'm gonna tell you something else too, Poppy. My man told me the other day. I was saying, I don't know what I was referencing, but I was like, you know, if we're gonna be in a relationship together, if we're in a relationship together, he said, I'm gonna tell you something. You tell me all the time, you got to watch your words and watch what you speak over yourself. He's like, why do you keep using if with us? And so we had to have a real conversation, because I was like, really, God, I guess I have. And once he brought it to my attention, I really had to think closely about, why did I use if? And what ended up coming out of that was my deeper fear that as I felt like I was getting closer to someone,
Right.
that they would not want to stay with me. And so there's some work there that I'm still um looking at and facing with myself, because clearly if I'm still saying if as if there was like some doubt as to us, being together, you can't predict what life is going to have happen, but like he's really into me is what he was saying. And he didn't want me to keep saying that as if the door was cracked open for us to be able to, like, go our separate ways. And I thought, man, that's the first time I've really had someone acknowledge that, because I've had my foot cracked half out the door, in a few relationships post divorce that, it's like, okay, well, maybe, let me see. But I'm still kind of like, but I
Yeah.
didn't really feel that way about him. But I have practiced that mindset in this dating, the course of dating, that I was like, okay, if I'm going to really be exclusive with this person, I can't keep thinking like that or keep behaving that way. Just like if you're dating a woman exclusively, you can't keep going out to dinner with the last girl you dated and think she's going to be all right with that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree, and I
Yeah.
think that's why it's important to have that conversation and to really clearly lay out
Mhm.
some of the expectations and boundaries. Because I agree. Because if let's say me and a woman decide to go exclusive tomorrow, and then I hear from the grapevine, or I just find out that the next day or Tuesday she was out with another dude that she was messing with or whatever. Yeah, I would be like, wait, like what happened to this whole
Mhm.
exclusive conversation? Like,
Yeah,
that's not off to a promising start if literally the next day
at all.
like, it didn't hit home. So apparently, yeah, that's why. Listen, that's why I tell people all the time, particularly women that I'm close with and friends, are like, look, before you start assuming things, sit down and have this conversation of exclusivity and lay out what you expect from it. Do not
Yeah,
expect a man to give you whatever it is that you think it looks like. Because remember, as genders, we think differently, we move differently,
yeah,
we see the dating world differently. And somebody messaging somebody on social media, they may no see no harm in it. But if
right,
you feel that, hey, we're going exclusive now, and you're over here, messaging random women on social media, and that makes you feel some kind of way, then obviously that's not helping the cause of, hey, I thought we're trying to grow together to see if we can take the next step. Because to me, dating exclusively, to me, it's almost like the tricycle, before you really get on that, relationship bike and ride out, basically.
right. And that's a conversation. Like, how long are we saying, like, is this a trial run, or are we in it to win it, or because sometimes you do kind of move into, like, we're only seeing each other right now, but there's not a real title around it. Which, that's a whole nother show, deciding if you even have a title with the person. And do you have to have a title if you're exclusive? Because there's some people that are totally cool with, I don't care what you call us, it's an us, that's plenty enough. And there's some people like, well, why don't you ever introduce me as your woman or your girlfriend or your significant other when we're out and about? Because that looks like you don't want to claim me. So that can be even like a sign that you haven't done enough talking to this partner about really where you stand and what your expectation is, as far as even considering titles. Like, are we just going to operate as an us? Does exclusivity mean that we're looking at potentially marriage, or are we just going to be together and live separate lives, like in two different houses? Or, there are people that do that. They're married couples that have their own homes and live separately, except for maybe a few days out the month. It's just like you said earlier at the very start, there's just so many formulations now for relationships. But in order, I think, to make yours successful, you've got to own it and decide really what do you want, and then see who lines up as close to that as possible in terms of compatibility. Because Like, you can totally mean one thing, thinking the other person knows exactly what that looks like, but they're thinking something totally different.
Yeah, and agree. And listen, to me, I would even put this out there. If you need to sit down and, say if somebody asks you like, "Hey, how do you feel about, us going exclusive?"
Yeah.
I see no issue if somebody say, "Hey, you know what? Let me think about it," or, "Hey, you know what? Let me sleep on it," and
Mm-hmm.
literally sit and think, "Okay, how do I feel about this? What do I want this to look like? And what do I expect from taking this next step of exclusivity?" In my opinion.
Yes, yes.
And it just because you say, "Hey," just because you don't give a straight answer right away, that doesn't mean that you're saying no. And obviously it's important, and I think everyone, man or woman, should have that right to be like, "Hey, you know what, let me think on this," because to me it's a big deal. If I ask a woman to be exclusive with me, that's a big deal in my opinion, because that means that
Right.
I'm no longer going to be pursuing or entertaining other women for romantic purposes.
That right there. But that doesn't mean that you can't still have friends. So,
Oh, absolutely not.
I
Nope.
think people need to know, like, there is a line between friendship and, relationship in that nature, real close in, intimate um relationship. But again, this has been a great topic. I really just want to close on um one more of our comments, because I love when our listeners put in on the topic. But Suyeli Gonzalez, I hope I said that correctly. She said it will have to be defined by the parties involved. And I think that just right there just takes this and puts the bow on it so beautifully. Um, Knowing whether or not you're in a open relationship where you're dating within yourselves only. She said these are the things that should be clearly stated before going any further into the exclusivity world. So, everybody who's listening, um, like, take time to know thyself, like Socrates says.
Ooh,
Like, know what you want, because if you don't, you might just get anything.
I will say this, Nelsa, to kind of put a bow on this interesting conversation that I think a lot of people just kind of assume what it is. And maybe 30, 40 years ago, yeah, it was pretty accurate. But now it's
Hmm.
become its own new thing, and it's up to us to decide and to define what that looks like for us. But one thing that I would like to engage in with women that I pursue for dating is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hmm.
I
Like a
love
job
that question.
interview. Like a job
Yeah,
interview.
seriously, because think about it. 'Cause that question, and that question can, a woman can ask a man that question, or whoever you're pursuing, because some people have different aspirations, whether it be professionally, whether it be where they want to live, or if they want to retire, or whether they have career goals that are more important than necessarily their romantic goals, right? So I think that question is also good to put out there, so that way you both can see, where do we align for a future,
Right.
because that's the whole
Absolutely.
idea, right, of you into a relationship because you think that, hey, maybe there's a future for us.
Absolutely, Poppy. Absolutely. I just love the topics that we've had this last year. We're coming up on season 4 rapidly, and I just want to throw it out there to our listeners. We would love to have you on as a guest host in this next year. We haven't had anybody take the bait just yet, but if you are not interested in that, but know somebody who would be a great interviewee, or someone who would make for a good conversation with Poppy and I here on the Relationship Cycle, then please let us know either through our Facebook post, uh, definitely on our YouTube channel, to be able to leave a like, comment, or share, uh, and maybe some topics that you're interested in seeing as we tackle this next 4th season of the Relationship Cycle, which is coming hard and fast. Look.
Big time. And listen, as always, thanks everyone for supporting us, for commenting us, and for always checking in with your opinions and your feedback. And as always, please follow, subscribe, comment, and please share our YouTube channel with 5 people that you think might benefit from some of these discussions and some of these podcasts that we love to roll out, where we share perspective from our personal experiences and from you, the listeners.
Absolutely. Until next time.
Buenas noches, my people.